Well, welcome in. This is your odds checker betting preview for this week's Worldwide Technology Championship. It's a new name. We're talking about that event in Mayakoba. I'm Rick Gehman, that right there, Geoff Fienberg. And Jeff, back at home, back ready to focus on a new event in which we actually have a pretty decent field. 7 of the top 20 players in the world have arrived at Mayakoba.
Absolutely, Rick. New week. Although last week, the T2s are always the hardest ones to shake off. They could have gone in for the same price, as Faraday likes to say, with someone's chip shot. I think I'll be talking or thinking about Patrick Reed at 20-1 in a Corn Ferry field for the entire season, to be perfectly honest. Every time I see Patrick Reed's betting number this year, I'll be reminded in my own head that they gave us 22-1 with him in a Corn Ferry field. Did he win? No.
There is a parallel with a golfer that we're going to get to just shortly here that I want to talk to you about. But let me pull up the grid. Here's the odds checker grid. Obviously, you can see the different values across different boards, but it's Justin Thomas who enters as the favorite in Mayakoba this week. 12-1 at BetMGM, 16-1 at FanDuel. That's the best number you can find on him. Followed by Abraham Ancer, Victor Hovland, and that's it for the sub 30-1 golfers, obviously using the best number available. So let's start with the trio at the top. JT, Ancer, and the defending champion, Victor Hovland. Is there a bet to be made at the very tippy top of this board?
Geez, honestly, Rick, I wouldn't hate myself if I made any of these 3 bets, to be perfectly honest. JT seems to be the fall season, swing season, number 1 swing season player in the world at, his win to tee up rate. And Victor, I'm always a sucker for Victor, but I think this week it's a hard, full pass on this entire part of the betting board for me.
Yeah, I think you're right. And right, I'm happy to bet Victor each and every week. I think these are fair prices. I try not to make a habit of betting on fair prices. So let's just jump down a little bit lower here because this is where there's a sizable gap. Again, these are the best numbers available. And this is where you get Tony Finau at 30-1. Here's the parallel that I was talking about. Brooks Koepka, 33-1. There's a pretty strong case to be made, Jeff. Hey, we saw Rory McIlroy in the 20s. He wins at Summit Club. Patrick Reed in the 20s, T2 last week in Bermuda. Now they're hanging at 33-1 on Brooks Koepka. Maybe the recent form isn't there. Maybe there's not a great course history to back it up, but maybe the number's just too long. He's there with Scottie Scheffler, Aaron Wise, and Billy Horschel.
Yep. And for me, Rick, I don't know why, but it probably would be Tony Finau in this field at 30-1 or potentially Scottie Scheffler in a very Hovland type situation. I know Hovland won a split field event, but he got his, what I like to consider his first main PGA win here last year. I could see that with Scheffler. And I do believe Finau 30-1. Honestly, the type of numbers we'll probably have to bet him in full field. Strong fields will probably be right around this number all season. He's the type of guy I could be very comfortable taking at 30.
When you see that bookmakers have literally just loaded up everyone in the 30 to 35 range. I mean, Aaron Wise, Billy Horschel, Patrick Reed, Tyrrell Hatton, they round out the same range as Tony Finau and Brooks Koepka. How do you assess this? Does this kind of scream to you one of these guys is going to win it? Odds makers don't know what they're doing. It's kind of rare to see this many golfers between 5 points of one another.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point. When I see a guy like Aaron Wise at 35-1, maybe this is just from being on the other side of this game for some time, Rick. I think the books are trying to trick me. It's like a weird NFL spread that feels like a total trap line. Why are they making me bet Aaron Wise at 35-1, the same number as Brooks Koepka, essentially, in this field? That doesn't feel right. I'm silly enough to think the books don't want us to bet Aaron Wise, but we know sometimes the books are just so lazy and they're just copying one other book's line, and I'm probably reading way too much into that. That being said, I can't step in front of Aaron Wise at 35-1 when I can bet Patrick Reed or Hatton or even the guys falling in behind Aaron on this board.
Yeah, let's look at those guys falling in behind here because we enter the 40s. This is where you get access to Shane Lowry, Cameron Tringale, Russell Henley, Taylor Gooch back in action, and then a couple of younger up-and-coming stars, I would describe them. 45-1 for Will Zalatoris, 50-1 for both Matthew Wolff and Joaquin Niemann, and a solid 50 on Mito Pereira. So a couple of young, really high upside golfers getting you 50-1. Any interest in this range, Geoff?
Yeah, I would be most interested, and I would definitely expect to see Niemann show up on my betting card this week, Rick. Yeah. Niemann at 50-1. There have been some attractive numbers in some weak fields on him in the past few events, and I've been able to stay away from him despite being such a big fan and thinking it's so close. I'm stepping in front of this one. 15-1 in Mexico on this course. I don't think he gets enough credit for how he can overpower certain courses like some of the bigger hitters on tour. He's becoming more and more of a refined player. Like many, I expect huge things from him. He's the type of player I'm looking for, super long odds in those, majors down the board at courses that I think suit him, like a PGA Championship. But I'll get my Niemann season started right here this week in Mexico.
Oh, Joaquin Niemann, 50-1 is the best number available on him. Scrolling a little bit further, there's a couple of guys where I become interested. Alex Noren, who everybody liked 2 starts ago and then forgot about. He is 66-1. He's still in the midst of a pretty good 5 or 10 event stretch. Justin Rose, Ricky Fowler, they're hanging that 55 again, which I have no idea what to do with the state of Ricky Fowler's game. And then you can get access to someone like an HV3, Howard Varner III, at 66-1. Nearly across the board here, Geoff.
Yeah, nearly across the board sorry, Rick. I totally that my audio split there for a second. So I totally missed the player you mentioned, and I could have tried to fake it and catch up. But let's okay. Be real.
Yeah, let's do this. The 55 to 66 range is certainly one that has a lot of different names. Justin Rose is here. Harold Varner III played well, just had a baby a couple of weeks ago. He's back in action. Is there anyone here that you don't want to pass up on?
I'm a huge believer in baby swag. So Varner's a guy I'm tempted to want to be in front of, obviously for more reasons than baby swag. This does sort of feel like a place that can work for Harold. We've all kind of been waiting for him to pop for some time, but it's also players like Emiliano Grillo, who a guy I never bet, who I'm always willing to pivot away from. Him at 75-1 is really calling me this week, Rick. I think it needs to be pointed out that obviously if one of those guys at the top, brings their game, we're all in big trouble. But with the new scheduling situation and PGA Tour requirements, these guys are kind of just, in my opinion, some of the bigger names, they're checking off starts. They're checking off new locations as required by the PGA Tour, and they're bringing their honeys for some R&R. There are guys here that this week literally sets them up to be into the FedEx Cup playoffs. And a guy like Grillo is really... players like Grillo, this odds range is really where I think I'm going to be focused.
There is a little nugget on Grillo that I have to tweet out because I have to get it correct, but it is something like he has never lost strokes to the field on Paz Palom greens. That's what we're going to get this week. Now, the idea behind that is we don't have the putting numbers because they don't take the lasers there, but Paz Palom is usually a better surface for worse putters, which is what Grillo is, and that all of his top finishes have come in Puerto Rico and Mayakoba, and even played pretty well at the PGA Championship at Kiowa. So there's a little nugget. I'll tweet out what officially it is, but there's something brewing there. A little bit further down the board, Russell Knox, who was seemingly popular last week, is 80-1. He has a great history here at Mayakoba. There's another golfer way down the board, Brian Gay, kind of a similar situation. People are going to forget about Brian Gay. They're going to play him last week and chalk it up as that was the Brian Gay week. But don't forget, he's never missed a cut here. He's 300-1. He's won this event. So there's a couple of dart throws that I would like to take kind of in the triple digit range. Geoff, does that interest you?
It does, but there are probably other guys in this range that have my attention. And, it's that time of year where, I think maybe I find a horse and I want to ride the horse. And as their odds get bigger, I still have confidence in their game on a course like this. And for me, it would be Adam Hadwin. Now I understand it's an exponentially bigger top of the board this week, but I'm willing to step in front of Hadwin at 100-1 here, Rick. Triple digits. I think I had to bite the bullet on a 30 or 35-1 last week, and he came off as hyper popular. Well, hopefully at a week of being short priced, hyper popular, Hadwin's the type of player I expect full exposure to. Outright betting, DFS rosters, and placing props.
And that is a number you're going to want to shop. Adam Hadwin 70-1 in some places, 100-1 at his best number. A couple of books are offering that. Okay, so let's talk about card composition just to kind of recap this before we get you out of here. Maybe avoiding the tippy top of this board, starting down in the 30s, living outside that 70 to 100 range. Is that kind of the way your card's going to shape up by the time this thing kicks off on Thursday morning?
Yeah, I do believe so. I think I see myself with a card that has unlikely both, but the guys under 40-1 that do have my attention would be a Tony Finau, would be a Scotty Scheffler. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to have to do 3 laps around Patrick Reed and decide if I want to bail this week, because now with a little form and I still think there's like a snub thing, and he's going to play every week to be a captain's pick at the President's Cup. Like, he's not going to leave himself. He's going to do whatever he can to keep his fate out of the hands of captain's picks, a.k.a. Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas, deciding his fate. That I could see him literally playing the Sung Jae Im schedule this year, Rick, and almost feeling obligated to step up with him every time he's flirting with a 35 or 40. But Joaquin Niemann, Emiliano Grillo, Adam Hadwin, those are bets that I am going to make in and behind 50-1. I can never resist, avoiding the total top. And I love hitting winners in that like 25 to 40-1 range. So I do expect a name on the card there, and I've already indicated who it could be.
Yeah, I love a little chatter about team golf this far out. Always gets my juices flowing.
It's so uncalled for. Like, what's the matter with you, Fienberg? But he will do everything he can to not leave his fate in the hands of a selection. He's going to full bear a schedule to put him on these teams now.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And you can follow Geoff for more of his hot takes. That's at Fienberg17 on Twitter. You can follow me at Rick Run Good. This has been your Odds Checker betting preview for the Worldwide Technology Championship. Good luck.